Two games, same mythology, same brutal world of Norse gods, ravens, and Viking fury. But one of them made you feel like an absolute legend, and the other one made you feel like you were doing chores in a fantasy world. Today, we're settling this. God of War Ragnarok versus Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Which game actually did the Viking era justice? Which one deserves a spot in your all-time list? And which one should have stayed a DLC? Let's find out.
Before you come at me in the comments, yes, I know these are different games built for different goals. God of War Ragnarok is a focused, cinematic, story-driven action game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a massive open-world RPG. They're not the same thing. But here's the thing. They both put you in the shoes of a Norse warrior, navigating the same myths, the same gods, the same world. And that's exactly why this comparison is fascinating. By 2026, both games had years of patches, DLC, and people replaying them on new-gen hardware. The dust has settled, so we're not hyping either one. We're being honest about what holds up and what doesn't.
Let's talk about the worlds these games built. God of War Ragnarok takes you across the 9 realms: Midgard, Asgard, Vanaheim, Svartalfheim, and more. Every single realm feels handcrafted. They're not huge, but every corner has something worth looking at: a secret, a story, an enemy that tests you. The world is alive in a way that feels deliberate. You're not walking through a map, you're walking through a painting. Assassin's Creed Valhalla goes the opposite direction: Norway and 9th century England. And England is massive, like embarrassingly massive. Roll up to a new county, clear an outpost, collect some gear, move to the next county. Rinse, repeat. At its best, and it does have its best moments, the world feels genuinely historical, grounded and atmospheric. Wandering through foggy Saxon village at dawn, hearing monks chanting in the distance, that stuff hits. But here's where Valhalla stumbles. Size without soul gets old fast. When the world is so big that side quests start feeling like commutes, you've lost the plot.
Now we get to the part every action game lives or dies by: combat. God of War Ragnarok's combat is, and I'll just say it plainly, some of the best in any game ever made. The Leviathan axe, Blades of Chaos, Draupnir spear, each weapon feels genuinely different, and switching between them mid-fight isn't just a gimmick, it's survival. The enemy variety forces you to adapt constantly. Boss fights are full cinematic events that test everything you've learned. Fighting Heimdall or Thor isn't just a challenge, it's theater. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's combat is fine. It's got weight to it: shield bastion, dual-wielding axes, the satisfying crunch of a finishing move. In early game, it feels pretty great. But as the game goes on and you start stacking abilities and gear, it gradually becomes a numbers game. Build the right setup and you're essentially invincible. The tension disappears. It starts feeling like a spreadsheet with a Viking skin on it. There's nothing wrong with RPG progression, but when your combat stops being reactive and starts being automatic, you've got a problem. Okay, story time. God of War Ragnarok is, first and foremost, a story about a father and a son trying to survive the end of the world together. Kratos and Atreus, by now, after 2 games and years of memes, are one of gaming's greatest duos. And Ragnarok doesn't coast on that. It pushes them, it breaks them. It forces Kratos to become vulnerable in ways that feel genuinely surprising from a character who once ripped God's eye out for fun. The supporting cast, Freya, Mimir, Sindri, Brock, these aren't background characters. They have arcs, they have grief. When something happens to someone you care about, you feel it. Eivor in Valhalla is a solid character, customizable, voiced well in both male and female versions, and has some genuinely cool story beats, especially when the game leans into its more mythological moments, the Asgard visions, the anima stuff toward the end. But the main story across 60-plus hours of settling England is uneven. There are peaks, alliances that actually feel meaningful, betrayals that land, but there are also long stretches where you're helping some Saxon king deal with a problem you don't care about.
The game doesn't know when to be intimate and when to be epic.
So how do these DLC offerings stack up against each other? Here's the honest summary. God of War's Valhalla DLC is short, free, and emotionally hits harder than most full-priced games. It shows a studio that's confident enough in its product to give you more of it without charging extra. Quality over quantity, and the quality is exceptional. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's DLC is a different animal entirely. You're getting more world, more hours, more content, but at a cost, both financially and in terms of your time. Wrath of the Druids is the standout, genuinely recommended. Dawn of Ragnarok is impressive if you can stomach more. Siege of Paris you can skip unless you've loved everything else. If we're judging purely on DLC quality versus cost, God of War wins with question. A free expansion that's thought good is almost unheard of. But if you're someone who's already obsessed with Valhalla and just wants more world to get lost in, Ubisoft gave you years worth of content, and that counts for something.
Now, here's where things actually get interesting, because this is the one category where Valhalla has a real case. God of War Ragnarok's side content is exceptional for what it is. The Muspelheim challenges, the Berserker boss fights, the Nornir chests, the hidden lore scattered everywhere, it's all curated. Every side quest feels like it was written by someone who cared. But it's a finite world. You can 100% it in a weekend if you push. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a different proposition. If you want to just live in 9th century England, explore every ruin, read every codex, do every raid, chase every mystery, this game will give you hundreds of hours. The settlement system at Ravensthorpe is genuinely charming. Watching your village grow from a dirt path to a thriving community is satisfying. The flighting rat battles? Brilliant. The fishing? Strangely therapeutic. For a certain type of player, the one who wants to get lost, who wants more, Valhalla is paradise. But for the player who wants every hour to matter, God of War is the better experience.
So here's where we land. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a good game. Probably a great game if you play it on your own terms. Skip the filler, do what excites you. Don't try to complete everything. The historical world building is impressive. Ivor is a character worth spending time with. And honestly, if you never played it, you're missing something genuinely unique in the AC series. But God of War Ragnarok is on another level. It is one of the most complete, polished, emotionally resonant action games ever built. It doesn't waste your time. It doesn't pad its runtime. Every hour of it is the game firing on all cylinders. Years later, people are still talking about specific boss fights, specific story moments, and that doesn't happen by accident. If you only have time for one, it's God of War. Not even a debate. If you have time for both, play God of War first, then drop into Valhalla when you want something to get lost in. That's the verdict. Not revolutionary, just honest.